Hello folks, it is the start of a brand new week. I hope you've had a lovely weekend and that you liked the video, because if you do so, it really does help me boost up that old YouTube rankings so that more people can see hobby nightmares and perhaps get something out of them. Let's jump straight in, shall we, with our first hobby nightmare, and that is from Mike. But before I do that, there is another Northern Exile channel on YouTube. It is Northern Exile Gaming. It is in the description down below, and if you want to listen to me more, I don't know why you would want to, but if you do, I'm over there playing video games like Dragon Age and Metal Gear Solid 3 and soon to be Cyberpunk and all these other things that I get to talk about over there. So if you want more of me, that's the place to go and do it. And every time you subscribe to that, it really does help that channel out and the algorithm as well. So, Mike says, "Hey North, I just recently found your channel and I've been enjoying your content. Thank you very much. I always appreciate your input into reading of other people's nightmares, and it really makes it feel as if you're just talking to a friend, not somebody who's just reading a story like others doing similar content. Anyways, time to get my bad dream out, as I would call it." Okay, well, thank you very much. That means a lot to me, because I know there's a lot of other people on YouTube who do similar things, but for other hobbies, right? If I'm being correct there? Yeah. Now, it has to do with Magic the Gathering, as I've literally just got into 40k. I just bought the starter kit and almost finished painting the minis, ready for my first game. I had played Magic for a few years prior to this story, going to Friday Night Magic every week during that time. My favourite format to play was Draft. For those who may not know what Draft is, it's when you and 7 other players sit at a table, each with 3 packs of cards. Once the draft starts, everybody opens a pack, cycles through the cards, and picks one card from that pack and passes the rest to the player next to you. Then take the pack you received from the person on the other side and repeat until there are no more packs. Build a deck and play in a tournament. I'd stopped playing Magic for multiple reasons, but never hated the game or anything. Dude, that seems like a really good way to play, and one way that really eliminates some of the key sticking points that people seem to have about meta, you know, and the meta chase that is Magic the Gathering. That's quite an interesting way of doing it. Anyway, one night after a few years of not playing, a friend and I were bored and decided to go to do a draft tournament at a somewhat recently opened store near us. It turns out they needed 2 more people to even be able to hold the event, so us showing up kind of saved the day for the group. We paid our entry fee and sat down at the table without packs and were ready to start the draft. I was sitting next to my friend, and on the other side was David Jensen himself. Oh my god, it's a combination of the two. We open our packs and draft our cards and are now in the deck construction portion of the tournament, when Jensen gets my attention. He shows me one of the cards he got during the draft and says, and I quote, "You passed me this card in the first pack, it's worth like $25. In a very condescending way, like he was rubbing it in my face that I missed out on that card. That irritated the hell out of me. Not because I missed out on the card, because I could care less, but because he was being a bit of a nuisance to a newcomer to the store. I replied back with, good for you, dude. And he was very confused that I didn't care, since I was really only there to play some Magic. I even gave my cards I got from this event to a friend who still played. That's how little I cared about these cards to begin with." Alright, well, be careful you don't go into cope here. That's how it smells. Anyways, my friend saw that happen, and it irritated him as well. We were at this new store, and because of us, we were able to even get the event going, and had some guy trying to rub it in our faces that he got a new $25 card. Now, my friend and I can get pretty petty when we get irritated, especially to some nerd we've never met before if they disrespect us, so we decided the best course of action for revenge is to go to the tournament organizer. Okay. We walked up to him and told him what had happened, and because of that, we both would like to drop out of the tournament. Dude, you are not gonna like what I say next. Right? This is the most petty thing. Seriously, you're gonna tank everybody else's good time because this person was a poo-poo head to you? Or are you 5? Are you serious? What's wrong with you? Like, just move on. I don't understand. Yeah, okay, yeah, he did something that was a bit off kilter. Just move on with your day. Just go, okay, man, whatever. You did the right thing. You just went, okay, good for you, dude. And you moved on. Why are you going to the tournament organizer like children? Oh, he said nasty things. He said no. What are you doing? Right? Don't get me wrong. Like, there are certain things you go to the tournament organizer for. Don't get me wrong. But this, nah, man. Nah, you're being pathetic. Sorry. But he said nasty things to me about my car that I picked up. Oh, no, just... Ugh. The organizer tried to convince us to stay, and if any one of us dropped out, they wouldn't even be able to get pairings going for the tournament. We let him know that we didn't want to play with people like him, and were adamant about dropping out of the tournament. Dude, get over yourself. Seriously. Get over yourself. The organizer informed everybody that they had to cancel the tournament, as my friend and I were walking out the store, and never went back there to play Magic again. Moral of the story for you guys out there, don't be afraid to stand up to yourself against these David Jensens. They might learn their lessons if they get a bit of their own medicine. Dude, no, I'm being serious. I'm being serious. And I know this has a good chance of ruining your day. And I'm sorry if it does, right? Because you're getting your Hobby Nightmare read out. But my days. What you just did there, man, was just joining the club. You've ruined... Say there's 12 people there for that tournament. You've ruined 11 people's day. Just because you couldn't... You know what I mean? You wanted to go and make a scene about this guy, and the offense was really minor. Like, what he did was really minor. He said, oh, it's just, you don't know. In his mind, his voice might just sound like he's condescending. You don't know, right? All he said was, you passed me this card in the first pack. It's worth like 25 bucks, dude. In a very condescending way, so you say, right? That's a really minor infraction, and you tanked the entire event. You were offered a tiny bit of power over people, my friend, right? And the minute you were given it, you used it to act like a little so-and-so, right? You got up and you walked out and you ruined everybody else's good time because this person hurt your little feelings. Come on. No, I'm sorry. You know, you guys know, I always come down on your side when something goes wrong and you're the person at fault, right? I thought this Hobby Nightmare was going to go down the track of, you know, you guys took him down in the game and everybody lived happily ever after, right? You didn't tank the event for everybody else. You gave the guy a taste of his own medicine by playing him off the table. Job's a good one. But no, you ruined the event for everybody, making it all about yourself, storming out like a pair of children from something that was really tiny. Really tiny. I don't think I'd want to play games with you. I'm just saying. I got that vibe from that story. Again, I'm sorry if that ruined your day, but I can't hold back, man. That was not good. You tanked everybody else's tournament and I bet you felt good on the way home, didn't you? I bet you got your little jammies all nice and warm. You're like, oh, it's great, we showed them. Right, no, you didn't. You didn't. There would have been a lot of people there who wanted to just play Magic the Gathering and have a good time. And you ruined that for them. So, and he didn't ruin that, by the way. Yeah, he did one thing that was pretty, you know, off. But it really, really minor. Remember what I read on a regular occurrence, the worst that's in the hobby. Dude, that's nowhere near it. And it didn't warrant that reaction. Think on, my friend, alright? Alright, moving on. Slaneshi Brad says... Sorry if that was a bit ranty, ladies and gentlemen, but, you know, just sometimes. Slaneshi Brad says... Hello again, Mr. Exile. Slaneshi Brad again, with a doozy of a Hobby Nightmare. My apologies for not writing in sooner, but me and my family have been having a few hard times lately. I'm very sorry to hear that, man. With the death of my best friend and bandmate recently passing from the evil disease beginning with C. Oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man. That sucks. I'll get right into this story, as by the end of it, I'd love to hear if you think I overreacted or did the right thing. Oh, here we go again. North, this is the story of the time I laid out a fellow hobbyist. Oh, okay. This happened just last month. For context, I have an amazing girlfriend, soon to be fiancé, hopefully. that doesn't play 40k, but likes to build and paint models with me. She also sometimes... Wait, soon-to-be fiancé, hopefully. She doesn't watch the channel, does she? She also sometimes comes to my games and rolls some dice occasionally and talks to my hobby mates, as she works from home and doesn't get to go out that much. I've attached a photo of me and my beautiful lady, just in case you'd like to picture the coming scenario in your head. Just please don't put the photo in your video, thank you. Alright, let's have a look. Let's have a little look-see. Don't worry, I'm not putting it on the video. Oh, I've put a ring on it, dude. That's all I'm gonna say. Put a ring on it. I would say you're punching, but you're a good-looking guy. But I'll say it for effect. You're punching, mate. You're punching. If any Americans don't know what that means, it means you're batting way above your average. Well done, sir. Well done. Put a ring on it. Moving on. On to the nightmare. I was still grieving from the loss of my best friend, and my girlfriend suggested entering a 40k event over in the next town to cheer me up. I loved this idea and signed up. I'd never been to this place before. It was held in the back room of a pub the group had hired, and we all introduced ourselves. I brought 2,000 points for my Slaneshi Knights, and the first game was a doubles game. I think you have a picture of your knights here, actually. Let me just... I'll get that up. Just gotta make sure I get the right one. There we go. Cool. Somebody complained about there being the same B-roll all the time. Number one, how dare you? This is Grey Knights, and how dare you? Number two, there will be more B-roll coming soon. I just need to find time to record some more game footage. There we go. There is your Imperial Knight. Very nice. I love how it looks like it's like doing a dainty little pose. That's great. Anyway. I brought 2,000 points from my Slaneshi Knights, and the first game was a doubles game. As there was an odd number of players, I was on my own team fielding my full 2,000 points, and my girlfriend offered to step in as my doubles partner. The organiser said this was fine, and we got underway. We were facing an Orc player and a Necron player. The Orc player was an absolute laugh, and we got on with him very well. The Necron player, on the other hand, was a strange dude. He kept staring at my girlfriend, making weird jokes, and even asked her if she thought he was attractive. Welcome to the hobby. This clearly made her uncomfortable, but she's not a confrontational person. I, however, told him to knock it off, telling him he's not being friendly or appropriate. His response was the classic, "I'm just joking, bro, relax." Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's called gaslighting, my friend. It's called gaslighting. Somebody has a go at you or does something really nasty, and you say, "Hey man, knock it off." They go, "Oh, I'm only joking. I'm only joking. Why are you taking the joke so seriously?" Get out. We ended up winning the game with one Slaneshi Knight left on the table, my Cerastus Knight from my previous story. I've attached a pic of it if you'd like to see it. It's my prized possession. After the game, I had to go to the toilet, and after I came back, my girlfriend asked if we could leave. I asked her why, and her response was, "No reason, I just don't feel too good." I could tell something was wrong. She only talks to me that way, she only talks the way she did when she's upset. When we were waiting for the next game to start, I asked the organiser subtly if anything had happened whilst I was gone. He took me to one side and explained he'd kicked out the Necron player because he'd been talking to my girlfriend and actually grabbed her behind after she turned away, an advance he made on her. I was absolutely livid. I am not proud of this North, but I went outside and he was putting his models away in a hurry. This wasn't the right thing to do, but I lamped him in the face and dropped him to the floor. He started yelling, "I'm sorry, it won't happen again, it won't happen again." I called him something that I won't utter here and left him there on the floor. I consoled my girlfriend, packed away my Slaneshi Knights, and told the organiser I was leaving. I have never heard from the group or that guy again. I know this sounds like a load of bull, but I guarantee this is all 100% true. I know I shouldn't have hit the guy, but in the heat of the moment, the adrenaline took over. Dude, you're gonna get no judgment from me. I'd like to know your opinion. Thanks for reading North, and apologies for putting that word you hate, Slaneshi, in there so much. Yeah, it's saying it, man. I find it really hard to say. I thought it'd be fun hearing you struggling to say it again, so I wrote it as much as possible. Have a good day, yours, Slaneshi Brat. Screw you, dude. So, yeah, I can't really say that you did the wrong thing there. You didn't. You know, like... You know what, yeah, what are you going to do, man? What are you going to do? Like you were... Life put you in a situation where you had to do some man stuff, and you went and did some man stuff. It's fine by me. I don't have any problem with that whatsoever. And lovely painted night, by the way. Lovely stuff. I have no problem with that whatsoever. So, yeah. Onwards we go. Grail Knight says, Hey, Senor Exile. Hope you're having a smashing day. This is the first time I've written in properly, and it is kind of nerve-wracking, I have to say. This is the biggest nightmare I've come across over the past few years, and involves one of your pet hates. Safety tools in role-playing games. I'll let you explain what those are if you want to, but they are cringe as all hell. Okay. So, a safety tool in RPGs is essentially when you sit down to play Dungeons and Dragons or another tabletop RPG, and everybody says, right, we need to work out what we don't want to cover at the table, right? You know, right? Or all the things that are taboo. We don't want to cover them at the table. And that's fine, but at the same time, for me, a lot of the things that they tell you not to cover are things that no decent human being would anyway. So you're kind of insulting people at the table by even suggesting it. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of the times people use these tools as a weapon. So they use the tools to slow down the game, to grind down the game, to have you, the DM, play the game they want to play. I've seen it happen many times where they sit there with the little card that has an X on it, right? And if the game goes in a way that you don't like, that's sort of triggering you, you just hold up the X card and it stops. And you move on from that scene, right? I've seen people tank entire campaigns by doing this. Simply because the DM is going down a road that they don't like, right? Yeah. You do a session 0, man. It's called having a conversation. And I really don't like the fact that modern RPGs seem to want to tell you how to behave and how to think and how to act. That's not what you're there for. You're not there to tell me how to be a moral person. You're there to give me the rules, give me the world, and to set me loose on them. That's what you're there to do. That's it. You know? And we have a session 0 to discuss the kind of game that we want to play. And if we agree that we want to play the same game, then we play our game, right? No problem. We don't sit down and go over things that we might find triggering, or even worse, give people carte blanche and say, yeah, just have this card, and if I go in the direction you don't like, then just hold up the card, right? Because I've literally seen somebody have their character die in combat, and then them hold up a card saying, yeah, that was a bit too brutal, I don't want to go, I don't want to do that. And they revived the character and moved on to another scene. Totally immersion breaking, totally nonsense, right? And I really don't get the fact that millennials, and again, here I am on my front lawn with my rolled up newspaper, waving it at the youngsters, but I really don't like the fact that millennials and people who came after millennials too seem to not be able to handle adversity. They seem to not be able to handle rules and restrictions, and, you know, everything needs to be okay, that they can never be held accountable for anything because they'll find that too triggering, and I'm sorry, you shouldn't be playing role-playing games. You should join an amateur dramatics group where you're in a nice little safe space. That's what you should do. But you shouldn't be playing role-playing games. Alright? If you need safety tools in your game, you're probably playing with a bunch of weirdos. That's all I'm saying. If you need to tell people not to, you know, RAPE or the characters, you're playing with a bunch of weirdos and you should leave that table straight away. Just saying. Alright, moving on. I've been a Warhammer 40k guy for about a decade now, and I've been dedicated to the Grey Knight since day one. This is where you tell me I'm a man of culture. You are indeed a man of culture, sir. Well done. So I am pretty well versed in the lore, and this nightmare revolves around a Dark Heresy role-playing campaign with a group of friends of mine and Dave, because I'm bringing that name back. So this group consists of Simon, our Dungeon Master and 40k lore library. He's been running role-playing campaigns for a few years now and is very good at it. Grail, me, playing a Krieg Guardsman who was the last survivor of his regiment and brought into the Inquisitorial services because our Inquisitor, Lord Rallon of the Order Malleus, believed my survival showed favour from the Emperor. My character is very depressed and wants to die, but I don't play him as a murder hobo. He is just very ready to die for the Emperor and is kind of glum when around the ship and not in combat. Kind of like Marvin from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Lovable, but miserable. You just want to give him a hug. Dude, that's an amazing 40k character. That's a really good... I'm going to use that. That's a really good 40k character. It's the depressed guardsman who never takes his mask off. Like, oh, just walking around. Really funny. Trev. Trev is playing a psyker pulled from the black ships because he has waking dreams about our Inquisitor Lord. That this was designed to be a plot hook for later on. Jess, playing a sister of the Adepta Sororitas, whose space station was annihilated by none other than Abaddon the Despoiler as he passed by with his fleet. She was found drifting in the void on her own depleted ship by our dear Inquisitor and brought into his service. Dave, also playing a psyker, despite being asked not to play a psyker, as we all were, as Trev had asked first to play one way back in the day, and having two was kind of unbalanced, but he did it anyway. Who was specialising in coercion and mind control. So, now we have all of that out of the way, let's look towards the campaign itself. We get together for a session 0 over a few drinks at a local bar, and generally have a decent time. Dave pipes up, rolling up the sleeves of his woolen jumper and pushing his glasses up his nose. So, what are veils and lines? He asks. We all looked at him, puzzled. He rolled his eyes. Ugh. As in, what are our concerns? What things do we not want to come up in the campaign? What makes us uncomfortable? Unquote. Again, we all looked at him quizzically. Jess piped up, confused. Well, grape, I guess? That'd suck. We all nodded along with that. Fair enough, like. I don't know why we need to actually have a rule against such a thing being in the game. That should be a given. But there we go. Dude, I'm totally on your side. I'm totally on your side. Why do you need to be having this conversation? If you're all normal around the table, why do you need to be having this conversation? I'm actually not alright with killing. I'd prefer if we didn't do that. Dave says sternly. We all laugh, thinking he's being sarcastic. This is 40k after all. I'm serious. I'd rather not, he says. I won't go into detail, but we spend the next 2 hours convincing Dave that we are playing in 40k, it's grimdark, there is murder everywhere, and we are inquisitorial henchmen. We will need to kill people sometimes. He only budges when Jess finally loses it and says, and I quote, Dave, get with the program, dude. If you want to play with unicorns and rainbows, there are other games and groups to play with, alright? Agree with what the DM wants us to do, or do something else, mate. Dave relented, abashed, but was quiet for the rest of the evening. Okay, I'm just going to say, I think that's going to come back to bite her on the ass. Let's see. Let's skip forward in time to our first session. We are tasked by Inquisitor Rallon with raiding a prison ship and extracting a prisoner, an alpha-level psyker wearing a null collar by the name of Prometheus. That's a really cool premise. I like that. I like that. We managed to board the ship as a strike team of Grey Knights assaults the vessel. You see, there is a coven on the ship that has fallen under the sway of the captain and Chaos Lord, Lord Malgus. We make our way through the ship, barely scraping by the dregs of the combat as the Grey Knights do all the heavy lifting. Finally, we get to the cell of Prometheus and drag him out. Without his powers, he's a large and powerful dude, but one we easily handle between us. When back on the ship, we have a few drinks to celebrate with Prometheus safely locked in his cell. During the festivities, Dave takes it upon himself to make a pass at Jess's Sister of Battle. You read that right. Ugh. It's always the same with these people. It's always the same with these people. If they come in and they want to change your game, or they want to go, oh, hang on, I want to do veils and lines, I want to make sure that we're being an ally, and we're doing this and we're doing that, they're always the weirdos. They're always the ones who act out like this. Always. Every game I've seen happen, every hobby nightmare we seem to have, surrounding role-playing, whenever it's a fucking weirdo, it's somebody like this. Right? Who comes in trying to be the nice guy. Who comes in trying to introduce, veils and lines and other safety tools that are just weapons to make sure you play the game in the way he wants to play it. If he doesn't get his own way, all of his inner demons come out. He's a weirdo. Simon tells Dave this is a bad idea. Jess is sworn to the Emperor and could probably kick his ass. But he presses ahead, winking at Jess that her character has been giving him the eye all night. She really hasn't, dude, Jess laughs, but plays along and putting down his advances gently. More role-playing that her character is oblivious to Dave's attempts to seduce her rather than being nasty with her rejection. That's a good way of doing it. Fair enough. The energy has shifted, however, as Dave is getting more and more agitated that he's not allowed to role-play in the way that he wants to. I should bring up that Dave is an affirmed ally to the feminist cause. Nothing wrong with that. I'm a bit of a feminist myself, but his behaviour here kind of took me aback a bit. I don't know why it did, dude. I don't know why it did. Those who speak of loyalty, those who say, oh, I'm such an ally, and we should listen to women and do this and do that, they're always the fucking creeps. They're always the creeps. Keep them away from your daughters, man. Keep them away from... They're the creeps. They are. And you know what? Whilst not all of them are creeps, do you know what I mean? Enough of them are that you need to be very careful. Whenever a man starts spouting off nonsense like that, women affirming nonsense, you need to take a step back and think why he's doing that. Look at the audience in the room, and if most of them are women who are nodding along but he's got no chance of sleeping with them, that's why he's doing it. It's creepy, and it's horrible, and it's really cringe. Don't do it, right? You can support women's causes and equality without being, a creepy little douchebag about it. It's just that most people don't. It's just, it's what it is. And by the way, women are annoying. I don't know why you even. It doesn't matter. So are men, I suppose, but screw it. I'm saying it. You annoy me sometimes. It sort of flew in the face of his ideals. I put it down to just clumsy role-playing, and we tried to move on, alright? As Jess is meditating later on, to get over the alcohol, Dave comes to her and tries to take cover... and tries to take over her mind with his powers. It's always the same. It's always the same. I feel like I've read this nightmare 7 times before. It's always the same. It's always one of these guys doing something really creepy to one of the women in the group who just... They can't put up with rejection in any form. Do you know what I mean? So, as Jess is meditating later to get over the alcohol, Dave comes to her and tries to take over her mind with his powers. Yeah. Straight up attempted mind grape. Jess feels a twinge in her mind, but nothing else, as she passes the requisite checks. Prometheus, our prisoner, calls out to Dave's mind. Something he should not be able to do with the collar on, so if he can do this, he's either taken it off, somehow, or is very powerful. Dave retreats and heads to Prometheus, and the two speak about Dave's most sordid fantasies about the Sister of Battle. Now, Dave has been told by our GM... Sorry, little stick in my throat there. Dave has been told by our GM this very thing, that if Prometheus can reach out to him, he's either very powerful or has taken the collar off, and then makes a big point about telling Dave that the collar is still on. Oh my god. Oh my god. That is a powerful psycho. Okay. Prometheus says that he wants to take the ship, and that Dave can have the woman as his personal slave if he takes off the collar he is wearing. Dave, being a total moron, does just that. Oh my god. Prometheus immediately stands and takes Dave by the throat, pulling him off his feet. He tells Dave that he is Inquisitor Rallon, that he was imprisoned on that ship but needed to keep his identity hidden in case the enemy were listening in. This entire thing was a test to see who would stay true to the Emperor's cause, and that Dave had failed. Rallon literally skinned Dave alive with his mind, allowing his bloody and skinless body to run around wailing in pain as a lesson to the others, keeping him alive with his prodigious psychic powers for days. Simon described all of this in detail as the colour drained from Dave's face. We were all chuckling uncomfortably, and Dave, to his small credit, looked suitably embarrassed and ashamed. Can I create another character then? He asked. Sure, said Simon, but don't be a fucking creeper this time, dude, alright? We ended the session soon after, and Dave never returned to the group. Although he is still friends with all of us on Facebook, he has kind of gone weirder and weirder over the years, so we kind of keep him at arm's length if we can. Another bloke by the name of Nate joined the group to replace Dave going AWOL, and he created a Knight Princeps without an Imperial Knight. A really cool idea that gave him an amazing moment when we found a broken Imperial Knight and he bonded with it and piloted it. We still have the Knight on the ship, and he uses it when shit hits the fan. It slams down Titanfall style from orbit and when he needs it, but its limited power cells mean that he can only use it for a single combat encounter each time he takes it down. I love all you do, North. Hopefully you didn't find this too boring. Cheers, Grail Knight. Dude, that was amazing. That was awesome. I really enjoyed that. And that is also a really cool character idea. The Titanfall Imperial Knight. Dude, all these things I want to use myself. It's so cool. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow for a 40k rant where we are gonna be discussing, you guessed it, 40k, but the current state of it. As in, its terrible codexes, its lazy models. We're gonna be going full in, balls deep on it. So come in and join me there. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I love you a long time. Have a brilliant day, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye now.